Hey guys, KangaskKid18 here, and did you know that there are a lot of terrible shiny Pokemon out there? It's really not difficult to make them look good, and there are a couple of ways you can do that. For one, you can make them look like the rest of their evolution line. For example, making shiny Dragonite a bright pink, like Dratini and Dragonair. Or you could give a shiny the colors it once had, like giving shiny Squirtle the green front it had back in Gold and Silver. Or you could go totally off the wall. For example, making shiny Jolteon black and yellow instead of sickly green. So today, we're gonna do all that and more. These are my picks for the top 10 worst Generation 2 shinies and how I'd fix them. Let's get started with our number 10 spot today. It's the Hibernator Pokemon Ursaring. Today, Ursaring's got a truly terrible shiny, turning from brown to the absolute nastiest bright green you can think of, with the yellow bits getting distinctly paler. And it's not like green is a bad color for it. Take a look at its pre-evolution Teddiursa. It gets a much more toned down mint green color, and that shiny looks great. Rather, the eye-burning nature of this shiny comes from its brightness. So let's change that by making shiny Ursaring a deep forest green, and really highlight its yellow markings. All of a sudden, this shiny turns from being one of the worst shinies in the game to being one of my favorites, and it's too bad we're stuck with the shiny we've got. Moving on, we've got our number 9 entry, today shared by both Natu and Xatu, two Pokemon whose shinies are the very definition of mediocre, turning from green with red highlights to more of a chartreuse with orange highlights. These shinies don't change very much and in my opinion aren't very unique, so let's make them unique by making the green into an umber brown, the orange into a nice pink, and the yellow bits into white. Despite looking rich and chocolatey, I think these shinies look super cool, and I'd love it if they actually looked like this in-game. Next up is our number 8 spot today, the fairy Pokemon Granbull. And much like the previous entry, Granbull's got one of those shinies that's just kinda lame, turning a light tan with a magenta mouth. And I just think this shiny could be so much better. How about turning shiny Granbull into a deep bluish gray with a bright blue mouth? And it's not like the shiny is without precedent. In the Generation 7 games, there's a blue Granbull that serves as the mascot for Alola's various police stations. That blue Granbull has to come from somewhere, right? Why not make it the shiny? Alas, Game Freak seems intent on keeping Granbull shiny the way it's always been, much to its detriment. And with that, we've got today's number 7 spot. It's the wool Pokemon, Flaaffy, a Pokemon whose shiny doesn't really change that much. In this case, becoming a slightly lighter pink color, with the wool part getting a pink wash to it. At least the tail turns from blue to turquoise, but that's not really enough to save the shiny. And I think it's a little weird that Flaaffy turns pink, honestly. I mean, both Mareep and Ampharos turn from being yellow to being pink, so it just makes sense that Flaaffy ought to turn from being pink to yellow. And to really set it apart, let's give it dark gray wool, like it's a storm cloud. Now this thing really screams electric type, and I think this shiny sets it apart from its evolution line in a really cool way. Up next is our number 6 spot today, Lanturn. And if you thought Flaaffy didn't change much, just wait till you see this guy. Cause all Lanturn does is change its blue color into a slightly purple blue, and its yellow color into a slightly green yellow. And the funny thing is that I don't think there's a terrible shiny here. It's just that the colors don't change quite enough. So let's turn this thing to 11, and accentuate the changes that we had, making Lanturn a distinct purple and neon green. And to really sell it, let's make the eyes a nice amber color. I think this looks super cool, and it would more than make up for the shiny issues we see today. But I think it's still playing things a little safe, so let's go crazy and make shiny Lanturn a deep cherry red, with orange highlights and emerald eyes. Now there's certainly no mistaking this shiny, and as a plus, shiny Chinchou would look great in these colors as well. Both of these shinies clearly improve upon the one we've got, and honestly, I'm not sure which one I like more. Moving on, we've got today's number 5 spot, this time another shared entry between both Sunkern and Sunflora. And again, this is a case where the shinies don't change much at all, with Sunkern going from yellow to darker yellow, with ruddy stripes, while Sunflora gets a pale yellow flower and an olive-colored body. They're just super lame shinies when they don't have to be, so let's get to the changes, starting with Sunkern. Did you know that Sunkern wasn't always yellow? Back in the original Gold and Silver games, Sunkern was a bright green overall, with darker green stripes, and I think this would be a great color scheme to repurpose for today's shiny. And then we've got Sunflora, which by the name seems like it ought to be based on a sunflower, and yet it really looks more like a dandelion. So let's rectify that mistake and give it those sunflower colors it always deserved, with deep golden petals and a verdant green body. And man, what a cool shiny. Out of everything on this list, I think this Sunflora may be my favorite, and it's something I'd hunt in a heartbeat if it actually existed in game. Next up is today's number 4 spot. It's the long-nosed Pokemon, Phanpy. I don't know why, but I've always loved Phanpy. It's low-key one of my favorite Pokemon, but its shiny leaves something to be desired, turning from blue-gray to a lighter blue-gray, with the orange highlights staying the exact same color. And the shame here is that Phanpy had a better shiny almost 20 years ago. Back in the days of Gold and Silver, shiny Phanpy turned, well, elephant gray, with the orange bits becoming a deep crimson. It's a pretty simple change, and yet it looks phenomenal. If only this shiny still looked as good today. And with that, we've got today's number 3 spot, Blissey. And because it's related and also has a terrible shiny, Happiny. I don't know why they insist on giving these Pokemon such crappy shinies, but for some reason, Blissey just becomes a very pale pink, and Happiny turns from pink to like slightly purple. Neither changes much at all, which is a shame because I think that Chansey gets a really cool shiny, turning from pink to dusky yellow with mint green. Now Chansey seems like the odd one out, and I don't think that should be the case. To even things up, let's make Happiny mirror Chansey, with the same dusky yellow and mint green highlights, whereas I think Blissey should turn the same green color overall. Now this evolution line shares a common motif while still having each member look totally unique, and it's a huge improvement over the shinies we've got today. Up next is today's number 2 spot, and the runner-up for worst shiny of Generation 2. It's Elekid. But we're not going to stop there. I also think that Electabuzz and Electivire could use a couple of shiny changes, so let's bust through this evolution line in a single entry. Anyway, I mentioned before that Elekid had a terrible shiny, but just wait till you see it. The whole thing turns from yellow to brighter yellow, which is especially bad considering Electabuzz turns a deep coral orange, and Electivire gets blue bits instead of red ones. Across the evolution line, these shinies get cool features that I think could be combined into one cool shiny. So here, let's turn Elekid the same coral orange as Electabuzz, but with the blue eyes of Electivire. And I see no reason why the rest of the evolution line couldn't follow suit, with Electabuzz getting those same blue eyes, and Electivire getting a similar orange coloration. It's an interesting look, one which I think improves upon the shinies we've got currently. And finally, we've got today's number 1 spot in my top choices for the worst shinies of Generation 2. It's Togepi and Togetic. And because why the hell not, also Togekiss. While shiny Togepi is by far the least bad of these shinies, it's still not great, turning a darker tone overall, while the red and blue bits on the eggshell switch colors. And while I really like the novelty of switching colors, there's got to be more to it than that to make a decent shiny. But Togetic and Togekiss didn't get the memo, and that's pretty much the only distinctive feature of those shinies. I just think there's so much more you can do here, so let's start with Togepi. Instead of barely changing colors, let's turn Togepi a bright pink with a robin egg shell, and have the various shapes turn an extravagant green and gold. I think this looks excellent, and both Togetic and Togekiss should follow suit, both turning the same light blue color, and both getting green and gold highlights. All of a sudden, this evolution line has gone from barely changing to getting extremely appealing colors, and I'd be truly excited if these shinies actually existed in-game. Alright guys, that's all I got for you today. Did you like the shiny changes I made? Did I miss one of your least favorite Gen 2 shinies? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to check out my previous worst shiny videos. Or if you'd like, check out the various ways that shiny colorations have changed over time. Thanks for watching guys, and as always, we are gonna see you on the next shiny.